Hey everyone, so I was chatting with Gilly a couple of days ago on the Tay, and we're talking about spring colours and Kynex and Rapalas and things like that that they use, and the best colours. And yesterday I tied a set of doubles using pink and white, which on the Kynex is a great colour for spring on the Tay. So that's what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it on a single. So using the Ahrex, you can see, get in focus, the H410 tying single, it's a size 2. So we're going to try that and see what happens. So I've got some white 8/0 uni thread, so I'm just going to tie into where the hook folds back, and then I'm going to put the body wrap in, which is going to be this pink Semperfli. It's baby pink, actually, they call it. So nice and neat turns, just to give a good base for this wrap. So I don't want to go too far back, probably to about there, and then back up again, keeping it nice and even, so when you wrap the wire, it sits nice and tight on the body. So I'm going to have my first hackle probably in and around there. So this is 0.2 Semperfli baby pink wire. So I'm just going to wrap this. This is just something, it's like a flamethrower slash welder, this fly. I just thought the colours were really nice. Some people fish singles in the spring, some rivers only allow singles in the spring. So I'm just trying to bring something a tiny bit different, but using the same principles as flamethrowers, etc. So we were talking about, well, I was thinking, because obviously with Kynex and 110s, etc. on the big rivers that they use in January, why we can't use, you know, almost like a pike fly for salmon. That's what we were talking about. I actually wrote an article about Kynex and the 110s that they use out in the spring when they're harling. But I'm going up to the Tay to Merthley to McClure for a couple of days at the end of January. So I've made some pretty hideous looking flies for that, with eyes in pink and yellow, sorry, pink and white and yellow, etc. So this bit just does take a moment of time. It's not 100% even, but it's pretty good. It's really to show the colours. Right, so I'm going to tie this in. So I'm probably going to tie it in just to the point here, just so it gives the body a bit of an even platform. Just wiggle that off. So for the back hackle, got nice pink clock hackles here, and again I'm taking off the front and the back to give it a nice bed to tie onto. Just going to wrap this back here. It's not a particularly complicated fly, this. I think it just looks really nice. Ping that bit off. Get the scissors out. Just fold the fibres back. Give it a good shape. I mean, you could possibly use a longer hackle for this. I mean, you could maybe use pheasant if you've got a dyed pheasant, or even heron. But some people prefer a lot of hook, some people don't. So I don't want too much on this, so I think that's probably enough. So that's probably, what, 3 turns in there. And again, I'm just going to take some of these fibres off, just so I've got no trailing hairs kicking about that get in the way and go all over the place. I mean, I could have probably actually put this hackle even further up the shank of the hook, but it's okay. Get the idea of it. So it's a nice colour at the back there. So first I'm going to tie in some, well, this is actually magenta, it's not pink, but still cracking colour. Bit of Bucktail. I'm not going to mix it this time, I'm just going to use single colours. Which is more like you tie a welder rather than, you know, you can mix the colours of a flamethrower, or if you're doing a willy gun or something like that. So I've pre-set these up. So because obviously it's quite a long hook, so I'm going to have quite a long tail out the back of that there. Put that in there. Just tie that in, make sure it's nice and straight. Moving the hook. Tighten that up. Just get rid of the front section here. So I've changed from what I did yesterday with the body at the front, but I'll show you that in a sec. So now on top of that, I'm going to put just a little bit of the white Bucktail. Again, just for that pink and white combo. Just lay that on top with a little bit longer length to it, just to give it a bit of shape. And I'm going to actually tie that right up to the hackle. So you've got a nice shape there. And then just cut it at a slight angle, just so you can keep the body shape really nice. Nice bit of taper shape to it. So on top of that, I'm not going to add too much bling to it, but I've got some Fluoro fibres here from Loot. So I'm just going to grab a handful of those. And quite thin, but they do add a really nice little bit of sparkle to the wing. So just a tad longer. So I think I've got, what have I got, 2 here? No, 3. So they're quite thin, so tie it in and then tie them back, so that will just keep them from being pulled out when you hook your fish. Not if, when. So get rid of those. So that's your back, wing and your hackle there. So next I'm going to re-tie in some more of the pink Semperfli wire, baby pink wire. So slightly differently from the one I did yesterday, I'm going to use some black, it's a slightly sparkle dubbing, quite thin, and to be honest I can't remember where I got this. So rather than using a uni thread or a uni floss rather, I really like this because it ties in nice and tight and it's got a little bit of sparkle to it, which I just really like. I'm not using this to necessarily spread and, you know, flare out, but it just has a little bit of blue sparkle within this dubbing, which I really like. I think it's a trout dubbing actually, but I've used it a lot for black franks and the odd other kind of snelder maybe. Right, so that's in there. I'm just going to tie my ribbing over here, nice and tight. So I think ideally if I'd done this again, I'd probably tie the first hackle in, the rear hackle, a bit further back. But it's okay. It's not bad, not the end of the world. Just a few little bits of things get out. Right, so that's your back section, still looking okay. So now I'm going to use, actually for the front, I'm going to use a hen hackle, white. And this ties in really well and it looks super neat. So I talked a little bit about cock hackles versus hen hackles in my last film. There's nothing wrong with either, but for this I just really like this soft hackle I got from Andre at AM Fly Tying the other day. I mean, you could obviously still use a cock hackle in this and it would look great, and actually probably just have a little bit more translucency in the body. But for appearances, this looks, I think, really nice. So I'm using quite a small one, not too long, but I do a few more ties on this one. So I've got a bit of space at the front. I quite like the Americans. The Americans do quite short hackles at the front, which I've noticed in some of the videos I've been following from some of the tyers out there that do the Picasso kind of single hook flies that they use. Very short wings, more hook than hair, which is definitely not a bad thing at all. Rather than lobbing a budgie. I mean, this is a little bit budgified, but it's not too bad. I think possibly you'd maybe slim that out a bit, and with a cock hackle, but I'm happy with that. I think I'd push it a bit tighter at the front again, have the back hackle a bit tighter to the front of the hook. But it's okay, it's okay. So tying the JC. One there. And your opposite man here. Nice and so because I'm not putting any varnish on this, I'm just using the Hanson again, but just using hard as nails. So I don't need any colour on the front. Well, usually I do everything in red. I really like the red front, but no need really. This thread's really nice. Got a nice colour, fits with this fly perfectly. Right, so we'll get rid of JC ends. Used to hate doing this when I started tying. Always head used to fall off. There we go. Bit of Hanson on here. So it's a nice sparse fly. Nice bit of movement out the back. Good spring colours. I think I might make a set or two in doubles and maybe a few welder versions of this in tubes. I'm just pissing the rain at the moment, and no doubt by the time we get into the season it will get hot. But anyway, if you don't have it, you can't use it. Anyway, there we go. Pink and white flamethrower type thingy.